The Bavarian Illuminati. The Bavarian Illuminati began in 1776 with a small meeting in Ingolstadt, but its name would eventually grow far beyond anything the original members controlled. Its founder, university professor Adam Weishaupt, wanted an elite network devoted to reason, moral reform, and resistance to religious and political domination. Members entered through graded ranks, adopted classical code names, communicated in cipher, and reported through a structure designed to reveal the organization only in stages. As the order expanded, Baron Adolf von Nigge helped recruit educated and influential men, including members already active inside Masonic lodges. That overlap later created one of history's most durable confusions. Freemasonry and the Illuminati were connected through some members, but they were never the same organization. Bavarian authorities began suppressing secret societies during the 1780s, eventually banning the order and making continued membership a serious crime. The historical Illuminati appears to have collapsed under that pressure, leaving no solid evidence that the original organization survived through an unbroken modern network. Yet its disappearance made the story more powerful, because writers soon blamed the vanished society for the French Revolution and nearly every later political upheaval. Modern conspiracy culture transformed a short-lived Enlightenment order into a hidden government controlling banks, celebrities, wars, elections, and global symbols. The evidence supports a real secret society with ambitious ideas, coded organization, and elite recruitment, but not an immortal command center ruling the modern world. The Illuminati became legendary not because historians discovered an endless conspiracy, but because an organization that vanished left the public with no visible ending. The Freemasons. Freemasonry is often described as the world's most powerful secret society, yet its buildings, charities, leaders, and many members have been publicly visible for centuries. The secrecy exists mainly around ceremonies, recognition signs, and private lodge business, making it more accurate to call Freemasonry a society with secrets rather than an invisible organization. Modern Freemasonry developed from traditions associated with working stonemasons, whose tools and building language became moral symbols for later members who were not actual craftsmen. A recorded speculative initiation appears in England in 1646, and in 1717 4 London lodges formed the first Grand Lodge, giving the movement a structure that spread internationally. Inside a lodge, the square, compasses, rough stone, and completed temple become lessons about discipline, conduct, responsibility, and personal improvement. The movement attracted merchants, professionals, political leaders, and prominent Americans, which made ordinary fellowship appear suspicious whenever powerful members entered the same room. That suspicion grew into anti-Masonic movements, religious condemnation, and claims that revolutions, governments, currencies, and national symbols were secretly designed by the fraternity. But Freemasonry has never operated as one worldwide command system. Independent Grand Lodges differ in their rules, recognition, membership, and ritual practices. Its influence is real in a broader sense. Lodges created durable social networks, promoted Enlightenment-era principles, supported charities, and connected members across professions and borders. The mystery survives because the public can see the halls, aprons, and symbols, while remaining outside the ritual experience that gives those objects meaning. Freemasonry's greatest secret may be less dramatic than the theories suggest. Privacy makes a decentralized organization look perfectly unified when viewed from the outside. Skull and Bones. Skull and Bones does not hide in a distant castle. It selects students at Yale University and meets inside a windowless building known simply as the Tomb. The society was founded in 1832 by William Huntington Russell and Alphonso Taft, beginning a tradition that would combine college ritual with elite social networking. Traditionally, a small group of juniors is selected near the end of each academic year to join during their senior year, and while membership names have often become public, the meetings and initiation practices remain private. Its emblem, a skull, crossed bones, and the number 322 creates exactly the kind of incomplete clue that encourages outsiders to construct explanations of their own. Members enter the tomb during their final year at Yale and form relationships capable of continuing long after university status becomes professional influence. That is where the story escalates. Former members have entered politics, law, finance, intelligence, media, and the presidency, making a college society appear connected to national power. The network is undeniable, but the stronger claim that Skull and Bones coordinates one unified political program has never been demonstrated through public evidence. Even the meaning of 322 remains disputed, with theories connecting it to ancient history, the society's internal chronology, or traditions never conclusively explained. Books and exposes have portrayed the organization as a hidden American establishment, while members' silence ensures that rumors receive very little direct correction. The result is a nearly perfect conspiracy engine, a real organization, powerful alumni, a locked building, ritual symbolism, and almost no official narrative. Skull and Bones shows how secrecy does not need to control the world to shape public suspicion. The possibility of private loyalty among future leaders can be powerful enough. The Rosicrucians. The Rosicrucians may be history's strangest secret society because the first mystery is whether the original brotherhood physically existed at all. In 1614, an anonymous German manifesto called the Fama Fraternitatis announced a hidden fraternity founded by the mysterious Christian Rosicrucians. The document described a traveler who gathered wisdom abroad, returned to Europe, and created a small order devoted to spiritual, scientific, and religious reform. A second manifesto expanded the invitation, while the chemical wedding of Christian Rosicrucians added alchemical ceremonies, impossible transformations, and dreamlike symbolism. Readers across Europe searched for the Brotherhood, wrote public letters asking to join, and argued over whether the documents announced reform, heresy, satire, or revolution. But the supposed masters did not step forward. No verified headquarters appeared, and the absence of evidence became part of the society's identity. That silence allowed the Rosicrucian image to grow. Invisible sages, hidden laboratories, secret medicine, alchemy, and knowledge capable of remaking Europe. Later mystical orders adopted the Rose Cross, claimed spiritual descent, or constructed new organizations inspired by the manifestos, without proving an unbroken lineage. The movement influenced occult philosophy, literature, visual art, and later initiatory groups, meaning an uncertain brotherhood produced very real cultural consequences. This creates the central paradox. The first Rosicrucians may have been an intellectual fiction, a loose circle, or a deliberately concealed fraternity, and each possibility strengthens the legend differently. Rosicrucianism proves that a secret society can become historically powerful even when its greatest achievement is convincing generations that hidden teachers must exist somewhere. The Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn. The Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn promised more than private fellowship. It offered a staircase leading into an entire hidden universe. Founded in London in 1888 by William Wynne Westcott, Samuel Liddell MacGregor Mathers, and William Robert Woodman, the order built its system around encoded manuscripts and elaborate initiation grades. Members studied Kabbalah, astrology, alchemy, tarot, Egyptian symbolism, geomancy, and ritual magic, advancing only after learning the material assigned to each level. Unlike many male-only fraternities of the period, Golden Dawn temples admitted women into the same initiatory structure, helping create an unusually mixed occult circle. Its membership included artists, writers, intellectuals, and intense personalities who did not merely discuss magic but attempted to organize it into repeatable practice. The secrecy deepened through magical names, temple officers, colored chambers, symbolic weapons, and ceremonies designed to make each advancement feel like entry into another reality. Then the internal structure began turning against itself as disputed authority, questionable correspondence, personality conflicts, and Aleister Crowley's rapid advancement intensified the struggle for control. By the early 20th century, the original organization fractured, but its teachings escaped through successor groups, former members, published rituals, and emerging occult movements. That collapse did not destroy the Golden Dawn. It multiplied it, spreading its tarot correspondences, ceremonial methods, and symbolic systems far beyond the original temples. Conspiracy theories sometimes portray the order as a hidden political force, but its clearest influence appears in literature, art, alternative spirituality, and Western ceremonial magic. Its story escalates from a coded manuscript to a secret school, then ends with the school breaking apart while its supposedly hidden curriculum becomes almost impossible to contain. The Carbonari. The Carbonari began with the language of charcoal burners, but behind the forest symbolism stood a revolutionary network challenging Europe's restored monarchies. They emerged in southern Italy during the Napoleonic era, probably influenced by Freemasonry while developing their own ranks, passwords, rituals, and political objectives. Local lodges were called Vendite. Members addressed one another as good cousins, and charcoal-burning imagery disguised conversations about liberty, constitutions, and foreign domination. The secrecy solved one problem and created another. Cells could survive repression, but scattered members did not always agree on what government should replace the old order. After Napoleon's fall, restored rulers attempted to reverse political reforms, and Carbonari networks spread through soldiers, professionals, landowners, and dissatisfied officials. In 1820, a military uprising associated with the Carbonari forced the King of Naples to grant a constitution, making the hidden network suddenly visible as a national threat. The victory collapsed when Austrian forces intervened, restored royal authority, and began arrests, trials, and punishment against suspected revolutionaries. Further uprisings followed in Piedmont and central Italy, but repeated failures exposed the limits of secrecy without unified leadership, military strength, or a clear national program. By the 1830s, Giuseppe Mazzini's Young Italy offered a more focused vision of national unification, and the Carbonari gradually lost their central role. Their conspiracy was not imaginary. They genuinely organized against absolute governments and helped keep constitutional revolution alive across national borders. But the Carbonari never formed an all-controlling underground state. They were a fragmented movement whose rituals made resistance possible before fragmentation made lasting victory difficult. The Thule Society. The Thule Society presented itself as a study group for German antiquity, but behind that respectable cover stood racial nationalism, anti-Semitism, political militancy, and an occult-tinged worldview promoted especially by its founder. Rudolf von Sebottendorf established the organization in Munich in 1918 from currents connected with the German Norden and the wider Völkisch movement. Its name referred to a mythical northern land, transforming fantasy geography into a symbol of an imagined ancient Germanic racial origin. Members and guests included professionals, officials, wealthy supporters, and figures who later became involved with early National Socialism. The society controlled a newspaper that developed into the Völkischer Beobachter, later acquired by the Nazi Party, giving a private circle a platform extending far beyond its meeting rooms. During the revolutionary crisis in Bavaria, Thule members supported counter-revolutionary forces, organized militant activity, and assisted political networks surrounding the German Workers' Party. This connection is real, but later stories expanded it into claims about magical Nazi masters, supernatural technology, and a secret occult command structure unsupported by reliable evidence. Adolf Hitler is often inserted directly into the society, yet historians have not established that he was a member, even though several early Nazi associates moved through its orbit. The distinction matters because fantasy can conceal the more disturbing truth. The society needed no supernatural power to spread racial hatred, finance propaganda, and support violent politics. Its importance declined sharply after 1919 as the society fragmented, and by the mid-1920s, the expanding Nazi movement had developed organizations far beyond the old private network. The Thule Society shows how romantic mythology, elite secrecy, and political extremism can combine not to summon hidden forces, but to make destructive ideas feel ancient, exclusive, and destined. The Black Hand. The Black Hand was not a symbolic club or an uncertain legend. It was a secret nationalist organization operating close to the Serbian military establishment. Founded in Belgrade in 1911 under the official name Unification or Death, it sought to unite Serb-populated territories through revolutionary action. Its constitution demanded absolute secrecy, organized members into cells, and placed obedience above personal identity, while its seal displayed a skull, weapons, poison, and the promise of sacrifice. The organization was led by influential officers, especially intelligence chief Dragutin Dmitrievich, known as Apis, giving clandestine plans access to training, weapons, and border networks. Its members supported sabotage and nationalist operations while working beside, and sometimes against, the official Serbian government's more cautious diplomacy. In 1914, members of Young Bosnia prepared to assassinate Archduke Franz Ferdinand during his visit to Sarajevo. Black Hand-linked officers supplied weapons and helped the conspirators cross the border, although historians still debate how far the central leadership authorized or controlled the final operation. The assassination succeeded. Austria-Hungary blamed Serbia, and a chain of ultimatums, mobilizations, and alliance decisions opened the First World War. That does not mean the Black Hand single-handedly caused the war. Europe was already divided by militarism, imperial rivalry, nationalism, and unstable alliances. But the organization demonstrated how a small covert network could strike one target and trigger consequences far beyond anything its members could command. By 1917, the Serbian leadership moved against Apis and other members during the controversial Salonika trial, executing leaders and dismantling the organization. The Black Hand closes the series with the darkest lesson. Secrecy can magnify influence, but once political violence begins, even the conspirators may lose control of what follows.